Hello everybody and welcome to Mr. Stansfield's education videos. Today we're going to be taking a look at how to do what we call a face blend. Basically what we're going to do is take features from different people's faces from pictures that we've taken and put them together into one final piece. Now the good news is Photoshop does have an automatic way to blend all the layers together, provided we do some work ahead of time. The first thing you're going to want to do is make sure that you're using a digital camera that has a zoom lens on it, and then take a picture that's not, or I should say, either a zoom lens or a prime lens that is from maybe a digital SLR, something with interchangeable lenses. Essentially, you don't want a wide angle lens. A wide angle lens is going to make the photos look a little bit bad and also make your job harder in blending it together. So I would say what we call a normal focal length lens or a telephoto focal length lens. If you're not sure what those things are, try doing a little bit of research to try to figure it out. Cell phone cameras are wide angle lenses, and I would not recommend using a cell phone. So the photos that we're going to use today have been taken with a cell phone and with a wide angle lens, and you'll see there's a little bit of also the lighting isn't spectacular. So the best thing that you can do is this. Line up the photo so that the subject is in the same exact spot in each frame. So you can see here, this is kind of centered. That's a little bit of a closer picture. And then this is a little bit further away and the subject is a little bit lower. Put the subject in the same place. Also, the distance from the camera and the focal length shouldn't change. The focal length meaning the zoom setting. So if you do those things, if you set the same focal length and then have the same exact distance from the camera. So basically set up a camera and then just cycle people in, 3 or 4 different people, the same exact distance, and then have the same background. That's going to make your life a lot easier. In this case, we're going to make this work. It's going to be fine, you'll see, but it might take a little bit of extra work. I'm going to go ahead and say that this is going to be our base picture. So this is the picture we're going to start with. Once you figure out which image you want to start with, the first thing you're going to do is copy the background layer. There's 2 ways to do that. Well, there's actually several. The 2 I'm going to show you right now. You can click and drag and copy the background layer to the copy, which is down here at the bottom of the layers palette right next to the trash can. Let go and it will make a background copy. The shortcut key is just Command J though. So Command J would be the way that I would do that if I was working a little bit quicker. And the reason is that if we were to do something weird like this, you can see what I just did now because I took the eyeball off the background. Well, the background's going to be there, so we can actually just delete the background copy if we screw something up majorly, and I can just Command Z undo that. Anyway, let's go to our next layer. Here in the upper tab, what I'm going to do is take this tab and move it down so I can see this picture here. I'm going to make a selection. You can see I already have a selection with from working on this before, but I'm going to grab the lasso tool and I'm just going to click and drag around. And in this case, I want to, for this part of the image, I'm going to use just the eyes, glasses, and nose from this subject, and then I'm going to bring it into the new layer, into the base layer, I should say, the base picture over here. Now, if I were to accidentally like add, let's say like that much, I don't know, if I like didn't get my lasso perfect, then I will show you how you can kind of work around this. So in this case, what I'm going to do is once I have my selection lined up, I'm going to get the move tool and I'm just going to click and drag that over here. And you can see it moves the selection and it makes that weird selection that I made. I'll show you what we're going to do to get rid of that in just a second. What I want to do is line up this layer with the background copy layer, and I'm going to do that by selecting layer 1 here and reducing the opacity down to 50%. That's going to show me both layers, and I can show you here that it shows you the opacity. It shows sort of 50-50, so I can line up the 2 eyes and the edges of the nose as best I can. Now, if I'm being fastidious, I'm going to double click on this layer 1 text here, and I'm just going to rename it. I'm going to rename it eyes and nose. And then I'm going to go ahead and zoom in a little bit. Command plus is the shortcut key. Maybe not that much. I'm going to move it around. I'm going to try to line up the eyes. Now, it's not going to line up perfectly, eyes and nose here. So what I'm going to do is use the transform tool. So if I go to edit, transform, And I'm sorry, free transform here, Command T is the shortcut key. I can make this a little smaller. I can sort of look at those eyes. I can move this around a little bit. I can rotate if I need to. In this case, I think I do want to rotate a little bit. And I'm just looking at the left eye, looks pretty much lined up right there. And then the right eye is a little bit bigger. So I'm going to bring this in just a little bit, bring this down just a little bit. And I'm going to try to recenter it. Almost there. Also looking at the nose and trying to kind of line up the middle of the two nostrils to try to make it as seamless as possible. It's not going to be perfect, again, because we didn't, we took the pictures with a cell phone camera, so it's not going to be perfect. This is looking pretty good though, and good enough to move on. Once I'm done, I'm going to hit Enter, Return, or this little check mark right here. And then I'm going to show you how to get rid of anything you don't want to include in the blend for this layer. I'm going to change the opacity back to 100%. And if I wanted to, I could actually take the eyeballs off of the background copy, so I'd just be able to see this. I'm going to get the eraser tool by hitting the E key on the keyboard, but you can see it's right here in the middle. And I'm going to just start erasing. I can make my eraser bigger and smaller by using the left and right bracket keys on the keyboard. In this case, all I care about is the nose and eyes, so I'm just going to erase all this other business over here. We don't really care about this over here. We don't care about that wall. And that's fine, just like that. All right, I'm going to go ahead and add those eyeballs again, and you can see that actually the width of the face is a little bit off, and then you can see the rotation actually a little bit better here. And again, that's okay. It's not going to be the end of the world. The goal for this project is not to make a seamless transition so much as like to have some fun and do something a little goofy. So the next step is to make a selection from the eyes and nose layer. I'm going to hit Command 0 so I can see my whole picture, and then I'm going to hold the Command key and click on the eyes and nose layer. Clicking on the layer itself, not the text. If I Command clicked on the text, it would be something different. I'm going to go up here to select. I'm going to select inverse. Shift Command I is the shortcut key, and you can see that now I've selected the inverse of what I selected, and that's basically, you can see the marching ants are on the outside of the picture. I'm going to go up here to select one more time. I'm going to go to Modify and Expand. What we are doing here, it's important to know, we're trying to make delete the area of the background layer behind the eyes and nose. And we want that area to be slightly smaller. And I'll show you what I mean in just a second. So we're going to expand selection by 15 pixels. And I'll zoom in so you can kind of see. You can see the edge of the selection, and then you can see where the marching ants are is kind of in just a little bit. It's slightly smaller all the way around, and that's good. That's what we're looking for here. Command 0 to zoom out. And the next thing I'm going to do is actually erase the background copy. So I'm going to select the inverse, select inverse, Shift Command I, back to this area right here. I'm going to uncheck the eyeball, eyes and nose, uncheck the background, and then I'm going to get the eraser tool right here and select the background copy. So I have to select the layer, and then I'm just going to erase this area right here. So I've essentially made a selection that's slightly smaller than the eyes and nose layer, and then I'm erasing it from the background copy. I'm going to turn the background back on. I'm going to go over here to the eyes and nose and turn that back on. I'm going to go up here to select and then choose deselect, or the shortcut key is Command D. And then I'm going to Command click on eyes and nose. So now you can see that the background copy and the eyes and nose are both selected, and this is where the easy part is. I'm going to go up here to Edit, Auto Blend Layers. The default is Panorama, Seamless Tones and Colors, Content Aware Fill, Transparent Areas, and click OK. It's going to do some math. It's going to look at the file, and it's going to do its best to try to merge the two. If this happens, the parameters for the command trim are not currently valid, then back to the drawing board. You can see here that the ear coming in, not ideal. So what we are going to do then is undo. So we go into our history and go back to deselect, because that's where we kind of left off. We're going to go back to this layer right here to eyes and nose. And in this case, one of the things I'm going to do is actually erase where this ear kind of overlaps here. So I'm going to get the eraser tool. I'm going to select this layer. I'm going to erase a little bit more. I'm going to go ahead and go right up to the edge of the glasses as much as I can. Normally, you've got some leeway. In this case, I think one of the issues is these glasses here and the ear and the perspective or the angle that the picture was taken at is not working out as perfectly as we'd like. I'm just going to erase that. We want to keep the original ears in. And same on this side. Sometimes when you do that first blend, it's going to work out perfectly. It's just going to look exactly how you want it to look. In this case, we have to fine-tune the layer itself. And then we're going to reselect and re-erase the background copy. So I could have actually gone back further in my history and done that a little bit differently. I could have gone up here and gone back to, well, now you just see the eraser, but I could have gone back further. In this case, I'm going to erase this up here. Try to get a more seamless blend, something like that. All right. We'll try again. So once again, we're going to command-click eyes and nose. We are going to go to select. We're going to select the inverse. We're going to go to select and we're going to expand the selection by 15 pixels. Then we're going to select inverse again. And then we're going here to the background copy. And then we're going to uncheck the eyeballs on the other two layers. And okay. This is where it could be an issue. You guys see here, the outside of my erased area is too big. So this is where having the background copy really matters. I can delete that, go back to, I'm going to unselect by going deselect, right? I hit Command D. I'm going to go to my background. I'm going to click the eyeball. I'm going to copy the background one more time. So I've got a fresh background copy. Uncheck that eyeball right there. Command click this one more time. Oops, turn the eyeball on. Command click to make the selection. Select inverse, select, modify, expand, 15 pixels, okay. Select inverse again. And then I'm going to click on the background copy, unselect the eyes and nose, get the eraser tool, and then make a nice big thing, and I'm going to erase this area right here. So the area that you erase matters very much. In this case, I should have gone back the first time, and I didn't. Okay, I can now deselect, Command D is the shortcut key, click the eyeballs again, Command click eyes and nose so that the background copy and eyes and nose are selected together. Edit, auto blend layers, and I have a feeling this is going to go a little bit better this time. We shall see. It says it's still not currently valid. I'm going to say okay. It looks okay. Doesn't look perfect, but it looks pretty good. It looks a lot better than the other one. So if you look here and turn the eyeball on from the background into the eyes and nose merged, here's before and then here's after. So before and after. Looks pretty good. Not perfect, but pretty good. So the next step we're going to do is add a different mouth here. Now this is where things can get a little bit tricky. As you add more layers and add more layers, it becomes more difficult. The eyes and nose merged layer, we're going to copy that. So we're going to click and drag that down here or hit Command J, and I'm going to call this the new base layer. All right, it's going to hopefully keep us on track. The next step is to go over here to our next photo that we want to use. You can see I've already made a selection here. I'm going to click and drag out here, get the move tool, and then click and drag that over here. I'm going to look at this layer one here, double click it and call it mouth. So you can see where naming your layers really helps you to kind of keep track of things. And then I'm going to do the same thing that I did before. All right, I'm going to fine tune the erasing around the mouth, make a selection, invert it, etc., etc., etc. Because I'm about to run out of time on my screencast, I'm going to go ahead and create a part 2. But you should be able to figure it out. You know, if you have this new base layer and the mouth layer, you can do everything the same that you did from the background copy to the eyes and nose.